Now, Miguel Rodríguez Marco is coming from Madrid, and he will tell us about low resolution spectroscopy of variable stars. Thank you very much.
A ver si funciona esto. Thank you. Okay. I have a background in variable stars. I have many years doing photometry, but I'm doing spectroscopy from 9 years ago, and I'm trying to engage Spanish observers to do spectroscopy and be in a quite large group and powerful. Well, this is my observatory. This is the most recent. I am working with LP600. This is a low resolution spectroscope. And I'm working with a resolution more or less 500 and a magnitude limit of 10 in visual. You can see that it is a quite little magnitude limit compared to photometry. But as you may know, spectroscopy is very demanding with light, and we cannot work in low light. We need a spectrum with a signal noise ratio at least of 100. If it's lower, then the spectrum is not useful. Well, in this presentation, you will see all these spectra are made in my personal observatory or observing site. As is titled in the presentation, this is low resolution spectroscopy, considering low resolution and error number lower than 500. Professional researchers really consider low resolution every amateur spectrum that they are accustomed an error number much higher than 10,000. Okay. When we, the amateurs involved in spectroscopy, observe a lot of eruptive variables, especially symbiotic stars and recurrent nova, like this, T Coronae Borealis, which probably, very probably, will explode, will have a nova explosion in the coming years, will be the best observed object before the explosion. You can see the typical shape of the spectrum of these kind of objects. Mainly, we have seen the spectrum of a very cool red giant star with this absorption bands of titanium oxide. but it's a system which is always active. Because of that, we can see hydrogen emission lines corresponding to free gas surrounding the system, which is in low pressure, and because of the ultraviolet radiation of the compact star, it is always excited and produces this emission. There are famous symbiotic stars like CH Cygni, which shows changes from across a year. This is another famous symbiotic Sea of Andromeda. Right now is in a low state, which predominates in emission lines. Cataclysmic variables, it's right now a difficult field to obtain spectra, because the most of the cataclysmic are very faint. I only succeed in taking a spectra with the most brilliant, which is SS Cygni. And really, in maximum phase, in its outburst, you are observing mainly a kind of pseudo photosphere of a hot spectral type. There is no special characteristic. It's more interesting if you take a spectra in declining phase, when you can see these emission lines from hydrogen superposed to the continuum. But in the minimum phase, there's no possibility to take a spectra in these times, because amateurs they don't have the large enough telescopes, of course. Classical novae are an objective, an opportunity. They are in maximum bright enough to take some spectra with such instrument as ALPI 600. As we see, pues, you can we are seeing the nova of Cygnus of 2014 got in a late phase, which has a very fine continuum and is dominated by emission lines. We have hot giant stars, so luminous blue variables, which are always active. They are expelling gas outside, and it produced by ionization a collection of emission lines. In low resolution, we have not enough detail to see interesting phenomena like P Cygni profiles. We will need high resolution spectroscopy. But it will be interesting to follow activity, often once in a month, more or less. This is the main field when amateur spectroscopy is being applied. The BE stars are constantly monitored. There is an organization in France which follow the BE stars. This is one of the best objects an amateur can observe in spectroscopy. We have another one. There is a curious thing. This is an strange shape of the spectrum. I think it must be produced by chromatic aberration because of the focal reducer attached to the telescope. Well, red variables are very, very conspicuous. And mostly every red giant star is probably a variable. Many of red giants are semi-regular variables. Their characteristics, you see, a very similar spectra from one star to another, dominated by a continuum, very cold, and a lot of absorption bands of titanium oxide. Well, there are long period variables or Mira variables, which are red giants too, with the same characteristics. This is an interesting phenomena we can see in long period variables, that in maximum light we can detect shock waves which produce emission lines. Mainly, as we are seeing here, is from hydrogen. I could observe this in R, Arietis, and SU from Ursa Major. Well, there is an important thing that is not is most important things that can see professional researchers in this spectra than the things I can tell you that I can see. Important things is that the astrophysics can see new things that the amateurs brings to the community. Well, these are some highlights. Through the year, we can observe a lot of stars from the observatory. We can see, even with this magnitude limit, we can see tens or hundreds of different stars. Mira variables, long period variables, disfortunately, are out of our reach in their minimum because they are mainly a very dim brightness. And the most important thing that variable stars are not only variable in brightness, so they vary in the characteristics of their spectra. The shape of the continuum, line intensity, deepness of absorption. And well, this is all I can tell you right now. If you want to make some question, I'll hear you. Thank you.
Questions, please?
Okay, I am here. Okay, a very quick question. What software you use to reduce the data?
Well, I'm using EVS by Christian Bull. I'm very accustomed to this software by the use, but it's a kind of nightmare. It's I recommend for the newcomers to go to look for spec-inti that is developed by Christian Bull and Valérie Desnoux for the StarX spectrographers. It's more friendly and easy to use. I couldn't have used it, but it seems more simple. Yes.
Only two questions. You attain a limit magnitude of 10. I assume that with a signal to noise ratio of 100, no?
You are talking about the grating or the
No, the signal to noise ratio.
Yes.
100.
Yes,
at 10 magnitude.
Yes, correct.
With your experimental setup. What is the exposure time?
Yes.
To attain this signal to noise ratio at this magnitude?
Well, it depends in the magnitude of the star. More or less, for a 10 magnitude, I need a total exposure maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, maybe.
Okay.
More brighter stars need less time. 6 magnitude needs 10 minutes, more or less.
Another question is, what is your calibration procedure?
Okay. Every night I make a series of bias frames, darks, flat frames, and with a series of spectra, I take the calibration frames, which are spectra made with a calibration module, which is simply a light of neon argon lamp. which makes an align spectra, which is my rule for the calibration in wavelength. It's important that in low resolution, I'm taking the whole optical spectra. And I have to calibrate in instrumental response very carefully to obtain a right continuum shape. It is very, very important.
Oh, thank you for your presentation of important work you are doing. I wanted to ask what is the if the spectroscopy in amateur astronomy, how it is accepted in Spanish community? If you get some support, and how is it received here? Because in Czech Republic it is largely not common.
The spectroscopy in the astronomical community is in amateur community is very new for now. There is a slow process to being introduced in the technique, but there are for now right now few observers which makes spectroscopy every night, and who have spectroscopy their main activity. There are few for now.
And do you get support from your professionals or from astronomical societies or educational institutions or such supportive activities?
For now, there is a good interaction, feedback from some groups, but mainly in amateur community, mainly associations like Agrupación of Sabadell. It's very has a for now people beginning spectroscopy, but they are showing a lot of interest. Other groups request some help in technical questions. It is developing in a slow pace for now.
Thank you. I wish good luck with it.
Thank you.
Not a question, but an information. Every year in France, there are schools for spectroscopy in OHP observatory. I think you know. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and it's very interesting to participate to such schools because there is a lot of exchange between observers and from different level, and I think it could be very interesting for others country to come in France.
Yes, I know of that school in Haute-Provence observatory, and I like to attend one of the edition, but I couldn't do for agenda issues. But I like a lot. But I'm eager to know in person all the masters of amateur spectroscopy there in France. I like to know. I like to meet with Christian and Valérie and Olivier Tissy and all and all. I like in the future that we could make some kind of a school here in Spain, perhaps in professional observatory like Calaralto. It would be wonderful, but they are dreams for now. Thank you.
There is no